Low average temperatures in those low 70s. Only a slight chance to see some rain on Tuesday thanks to another cold front that'll push through. Overnight lows in those low 40s for most of the work week. So definitely going to want to go ahead, grab that jacket on your way to school and work.
I saw that 42. Did you stick that 40 in for Thursday?
Like it keeps going down and down and down. Yeah.
Thanks, lady. Thanks for watching WAAY 31 News at 10. Have a great night tonight. Stay right where you are. WAAY 31 Law Call is next.
This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviet. Tonight it's Ask Us Anything night. So call in your questions for whatever kind of legal concern you've got right now, whether it's a nursing home negligence case, a car accident case, a child support question. Call in and be live on the air with us, 256-536-0077. Call in, or you can text us your questions to that same number, 256-536-0077. You can also email your questions on any legal topic any day of the week. You send it to lawcall@waytv.com. And when we get to a show that's on point, we will pull some out. We've got some of your email questions tonight. You know, you can also watch us live if you check us out on Facebook. Glad to have Heath Brooks is here from Timberlake League and Brooks.
Good to be here.
Beautiful day today.
It really was.
You were busy getting ready for Halloween things already?
We're big Halloween fans. We were out in the yard all day. We have trails in the backyard. We have haunted trails, animatronics, the whole
You take
thing.
it seriously.
We do.
You make
we
your
do.
own. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
As we get calls locked in, call in your questions. We've got tonight's You Make the Law Call video. So take a look at this. It looks like a normal crossing. We're going to see a pedestrian walk across. Okay, he's going to be okay, but he's going to get surprised because this happens. Okay, he's all right. He's all right. But watch, it's not even over with this. Look what happened with that car.
Gracious.
And then you'll see that the pedestrian, he's fine. He's going to come back across and look at things. Because your law firm does personal injury kind of cases.
Right.
You see videos like this all the
Yeah.
time. When you're looking at something like that, what are you looking at to figure out who's going to be held responsible for
Well,
that?
who has the light? Who's running the light? Is there somebody speeding through that light? I mean, it looks like the vehicle who's approaching the intersection, towards us has the right of way, and then the vehicle hits him on the side. Now, what ends up happening is that vehicle who caused the collision, who caused the T-bone collision, he forces that other car into the pedestrian. Well, he would actually be at fault for the pedestrian's injuries, even though there was another car that hit him.
Okay.
He would actually be, well, he or she, whoever was driving that car, would be at fault for that pedestrian's injury. And you know, when you're a pedestrian and you've got a vehicle flying at you at 25, 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, however fast those cars are going, you can't move out of the way. And a lot of times just trying to get out of the way can cause an injury. And so you could be responsible as a driver for that as well. You know, interestingly enough, and we've had situations where you're a pedestrian, you get hit by a car as a pedestrian, totally not your fault. And the question is do I as a pedestrian have any insurance? And the answer to that question is yes, you do. If you have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage on your own vehicle at your house, then you may have coverage in the event that the person who hit you didn't have enough coverage or didn't have any coverage at all. So it's important to look at your insurance policy. Make sure, hey, look, even if I'm walking down the road, am I going to have insurance that is going to cover me in case the fool who hits me doesn't have any at all?
Even if you're not driving a vehicle?
Even if I'm not driving a vehicle,
Okay.
yeah.
We've got callers waiting. We've got Ed on the line with a question from Decatur. Hi, Ed. Thanks for calling in. What's your question tonight?
You ready for my question?
Yes. Hi, Ed. Thanks for calling.
Hey,
Thanks
Ed.
for watching.
Yes, I had an accident last week in Decatur on the belt line,
Okay.
and the officer wrote up the report, and he made a mistake. He said that I hit the lady, but she actually hit me.
All right.
Okay.
If this goes to trial, is that what's going to happen with that police report? And does Ed need to go get that police report fixed?
You know, Ed, this is not uncommon. And you know, you can petition the police officer to change the police report. Oftentimes that doesn't happen. The officer is not going to change the police report. So it's a situation where you may be stuck with the information that's provided. But fortunately for you, a police report in the state of Alabama is not admissible in trial. The things that are admissible, and this is important, by the way, but the things that are admissible is maybe what you told the police officer. If there's actual a quotation from you or the person who hit you, that may be admissible at trial. But the actual report, or whether or not the officer thinks you were at fault or the other person was at fault, none of that's admissible at trial. The problem you run into is that insurance companies rely upon police reports for information. So when you get into a wreck like that, sometimes an insurance company will just look at the report, say, hey, look, you're the one who did the hitting, and deny your claim. That's when you need to talk to an attorney to make sure you understand how the ball game's going to move forward. Particularly, an attorney's going to tell you that we oftentimes do not rely upon a police report, particularly when a police officer is determining fault.
Talk a little bit about hearsay, because that
Yeah.
police report is not going to be admitted because what the police officer has written down
Right.
is just what somebody's told them.
Yeah.
And people all the time think, well, the police report's going to come in, or with my kind of cases, family law cases,
Right.
people say, well, can my mom write a letter in support of me? No, that won't do. You can't have witnesses like that.
You know, we hear that all the time on law shows. Yeah, objection, Your Honor, hearsay, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Thing is that hearsay in a court of law, what that basically means is somebody else told you something and now you want to tell the jury that. And that's just simply not admissible in most circumstances. And the other reason why a police report is not admissible in Alabama is because no one but a judge or a jury can assess fault. And so if a police officer assesses fault in the state of Alabama, other states have different rules. Tennessee has a different rule. But in the state of Alabama, if a police officer assesses fault on a police report, that is not admissible because that's up to a judge or a jury.
Okay. How's it different in Tennessee? You practice it,
Well,
you can do Tennessee law as well, right?
Right, I can. I practice in Tennessee, and a lot of times a police officer will assess fault at the scene, and there are times when you could ask a police officer who was at fault at a jury trial.
Okay. We had an email question that was written in. This one is from Jenny. Jenny had written in, I was in D.C. this summer with my family. My 13-year-old son was swimming in the hotel pool, and there was a metal pipe sticking over the pool, dripping chlorine into it. My son came up from under the water. He hit his head on the pipe, causing a 2-inch gash. It's healed, but he's got a scar that bulges out. The hotel compensated 1 night of our room. Should I pursue a lawsuit since he's scarred for life? Okay, and it happened this summer, and I guess she accepted, 1 night free. Has she given anything away, or is there something to do here?
Well, and that's a definite maybe. Okay. One of the things is that I'm presuming that her son is a minor. And so when you're a minor, you can't settle your own case without having the court approve it. That fancy legal term for that is a pro-ami hearing. And so if you get injured as a minor or as an incompetent, then you have to, whatever settlement you get, you have to ask the court to approve that settlement. And the minor can't even ask the court. What the court ends up doing is appointing an attorney for the minor to ensure that the child is protected. When I say minor, I mean child.
Yeah.
To ensure that the child is protected, to ensure that the settlement is in the best interest of the child. Now in this situation, this is called a premises liability case, which basically you're on somebody else's premises and then you get injured. In this situation, it's a minor that gets injured. So the minor has scarring. Was this a hazard, first off? And now premises has a responsibility. If you're a hotel, if you're a big box store, if you're a grocery store, you have a responsibility to maintain your premises in a reasonably safe condition and to warn other folks in there that may be shopping or may be using your premises about any hazards that you knew about, should have known about, or you created. Now here we got a pipe that's sitting out over a swimming pool, dripping chlorine into the pool. That would most likely be considered a hazard. And to a child coming up from the swimming pool to get air, it's probably not open and obvious, meaning he probably couldn't have picked it up. So I think that the hotel could be responsible here, and now this child has a permanent injury.
Yeah.
He's permanently disfigured with scarring.
Yeah.
So those are claims that you can ask a jury to award. I think any kind of extra night the mother accepted on behalf of the child, that doesn't matter. That doesn't settle the child's case.
Okay.
They should definitely contact a lawyer.
Okay. We've got Danny on the line with a question from Coleman. Hi, Danny. Thanks for calling in. What's your question tonight?
Yes. I bought a piece of land, an acre, and paid cash for it, and I live on it. I've been here almost 12 years now.
Okay.
Well, the way I fixed it up, because I had a heart attack, and got 3 stents, and they shot me back twice. I didn't know what was going to happen. Well, I put it in one of my nephew's name, and I live on it until I pass away, then it goes to him.
Right.
Well, he ain't lived out here about 10 years. My land joined his, and I've asked him twice to put it back in my name, and I don't want him to have it. Is there any way I can get it back in my name?
So he put the land in his nephew's name. Now he'd like to get it back. Can he make the nephew give the land back to him?
Well, that's a definite maybe, but most likely not. I mean, if it particularly, I don't know how it was transferred, Danny. I'm assuming that you did that through a quitclaim deed, because anytime you put land in someone else's name, you got to go through the deed process. Whether that's a warranty deed, which means that that whoever you bought the land from warrants that the title is clear, or that's a quitclaim deed, QUIT, which basically means whatever right you have in the land, you transfer over for whatever amount you settle on. Typically with family, it's a minimal amount. And so my thought is that you already quitclaimed some percentage of your interest over to your nephew. So I don't know exactly what your ownership interest would be if you still maintain a percentage of the ownership, and if you do, then you're both tenants in common. But it's extremely difficult once you have deeded property over to someone else to get it back. Now, the ways that you could potentially do that is if you have been continually paying the taxes and you are the only person paying the taxes, if you have continually done all the improvements on the property and the person who is the other tenant has not done any improvements, you may be able to get a judge to deed you back the property in that kind of regard. But that's something you would need to hire a lawyer who handles estate work, land work, to explore those particular options.
Danny, thanks for your question, and glad that you're doing better since your heart attack, and
Yeah,
glad that you're hanging in
absolutely.
there. We're going to take a break. Deanna, you're on the line. We will be right back and get your question in, so stay with us. Tonight, it's Ask Us Anything night.
Calls Live. Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League and Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Maservi. And hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back tonight. It's Ask Us Anything night. Heath Brooks is here from Timberlake, League and Brooks. You guys have got something funny going on at the office. What is this?
Well, we got ducked.
You got ducked.
You know, we used to make a joke about the office is that we have a gremlin in the office.
Okay.
That you know, whenever anything goes wrong with the computer or you can't find something, you know, we have a building that's over 100 years old.
Yeah,
So
something goes
you got
wrong all the
creaks,
time.
sounds, all kinds of things. You lose things, you know. But we had a gremlin at some point in time, came in the middle of the night and like we own a Jeep, ducked us.
Cute.
You know, and there were hundreds. These things were all over the office. Everywhere you looked, there were little ducks.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Y'all work hard, and I know you do very serious work. So sometimes a good
Yeah.
laugh is helpful.
That's right.
We've got callers on the line. Deanna, thank you for calling from Florence. Deanna, what's your question tonight?
Oh, I have a question about insurance.
Okay.
Sure.
My husband and I bought insurance in the 80s, and it's the kind that you just pay on all your life, and it's supposed to grow and all this, but ours has never grown, but that's not the point. The point is, after we'd paid on it for 1980, about a few years ago, we had two insurance men call and say they needed to come talk to us, and from representing the company. Well, they came and they talked to us, and they said that we needed to give them $10,000 to keep my husband's insurance, because they said that, and if we didn't, they would drop his insurance down to half of what it was.
Huh. Were they saying you're behind on payments or something, or what are they telling you?
They made mention that something back when my insurance policy was written up that they indicated maybe it wasn't written up right by the guy that wrote it up.
Sounds like that's his job to do.
Yeah, Deanna, was it life insurance, a whole life insurance policy?
Yes.
Okay. You know, so it sounds strange to me. Did you pay him the $10,000?
No, we just had his insurance drop down to half.
Okay. So that's something you probably want. Here's the deal. Whenever you have a policy of insurance, it is a contract. And basic insurance law, which basically means basic contract law, is whatever is in your insurance policy is whatever your responsibilities are and whatever the responsibilities of the insurance company are to you. Typically, your responsibilities are to pay your premiums every month, and the insurance company's responsibility is to cover you in the event that whatever you're paying your insurance premiums this time, if you happen to pass away, they pay the amount that they're supposed to pay under your policy. There can be some exclusions and things of that nature that are included in the insurance policy, and there could be some timeline. For instance, in a term life insurance policy, you have typically until a certain age when your insurance policy lapses, and you've got to get a whole different type of insurance. Sometimes you got to get another term, sometimes it's a type of whole life insurance. So those kinds of term limits can come up in insurance policies. But what sets off my spider senses is when two insurance agents show up at your house and say this other fellow may have written your policy wrong. Because if somebody writes your policy wrong, that's on them. That's not on you. And so if they adversely affected your insurance policy, what I would do is I would get together all your documents, make sure you have your original insurance policy because you're going to need it, and have a lawyer review your insurance policy. It sounds like potentially, now I'm not saying for sure because I haven't read it, but it's potentially that your insurance company did something really wrong and there could be a recovery for you.
Now, I don't deal with insurance policies much in family law cases,
Right.
but you must with all of the kind of cases you do.
Sure.
What if she doesn't have her original policy? Can she
You know,
get it from the company?
You should be able to get it from the company. Okay. You absolutely should be able to get it from the company.
Okay.
Yep.
We got a text question in. So Tracy had written in saying that her 16-year-old grandson went to a golf course and damaged a golf cart by accident. Now they're coming after us for a little more than $1,000. She says we checked and it's really only about $500 worth of damage. could we have a case, or should they just pay the whole $1,018 that the golf course is coming after them
You
for?
know, the reality is I don't know what the damage is. I mean, I would have the golf. First thing I would do is I would have some photos of the actual damage. Then I'd have the golf. I'd have myself. I'd look at the golf cart. I'd make sure that what the damage is was actually caused. You know, what they say the damage was actually caused by your grandson. I mean, if I don't know what your grandson did, if he ran it off of the course or whatever, but I would make sure that he was negligent, wasn't something wrong with the golf cart, something that they actually may have been a part of. And then you can always negotiate with folks and say, hey, look, we've looked at this damage. We don't think it's more than $500. That's what we're going to give you. And then if they come back and say, no, you're not, you got to give us $1,018, then your decision comes into play. Then do you want to have a lawsuit filed against you? And it would really be filed against your grandson, but do you want to have a lawsuit filed against your grandson and potentially get a judgment against him to where you'd have to pay the $1,018, or do you want to take the time and the effort to go to court? Generally, with that kind of money on the board, that's a lot of money to a lot of folks out there. $1,000 is not something just to throw around.
Yeah.
$500, I'm cheap. I pick a penny up on tails. So I mean, I don't pay any. Yeah, I do. I'm not superstitious.
No.
You know, I mean, it's a penny. I keep my nose to the ground. I pick it up.
Someday you'll need that.
So my daughter comes to me. We went to Jamaica last week, and my daughter comes to me and she says, "Daddy, I found a quarter in the bottom of a pool." And so I'm like, "Great." She's looking all the time too. Pick up what you find. But my point is that $500 is a lot of money, and you know, if they're asking you to pay something that you don't have to pay, then you know, you need to think long and hard about paying that kind of money. On the other side of it, having to hire a lawyer, having to go in front of a judge may be something that you just really don't want to do, and you'd rather pay it than go through the headache and the heartache. And I understand that too. But I would say at least try before you pay that kind of money.
Good luck with it, Tracy. We have got, is it Myrna? Is it Myrna from Elkmont? Hi, thanks for calling in. What's your question tonight? Glad you're watching.
My question is, if a husband and wife have a loan and the husband's name is only on the loan papers, and she has been writing the checks out because medically he can't do it right now, and I'm wondering if the loan has to be revised.
So
Okay.
what's it a loan for, Myrna, just in general? Is it a car? What is it?
No, it's for a heat pump.
Okay. And Myrna, is both the husband and the wife actually on the loan paperwork?
Yes, but the wife's name is not on the paperwork. It's just the husband's.
Okay, but the wife has been making all the payments.
Yes.
And
All
you're fine with continuing to make those payments, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay.
I
Well,
think they'll take the payment from whoever makes the payment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's necessary. So there's certain things in some contracts called acceleration clauses where you have only one person on a note, and I think about this in terms of a house payment. When you're on a house and your husband and wife are on a house and one of you passes away, then sometimes there's an acceleration on the mortgage where you got to make all the payments at one time. On a loan like that, on a heat pump, it's probably really not necessary to change your name over as long as payments are being made. As long as the payments are being made, I don't really think they're going to say anything to you about it. So you should be good to go.
We've got Stephanie on the line with a question from Madison. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for calling and thanks for watching. What's your question tonight?
Hi there. Yes, I purchased a home last April of 2024. And when I purchased the house, it's in an HOA community. And now I'm being harassed 18 months later by my HOA regarding my fence. I have a vinyl fence, and they're telling me per the covenant states that all fences must be wooden. So I've read the covenant front to back, and there's nothing in there stating that the fence has to be wooden.
I love it. She's
Yeah.
reading. She's reading.
Yeah.
We hear about HOAs all the time.
We do.
Boy, they're trouble.
We do, and you know that's one of the things you got to be. I mean, if you've read the HOA covenant, if you've read the covenants, and you're not required to have a wooden fence, that vinyl works just fine, then you should be well within your within your rights. And I'm assuming that they're dinging you $25, $50 for violating some sort of covenant. But if it's not there, then oftentimes what you got to do is you got to hire a lawyer to tell them to stop the harassment. You know, I mean, there are lawyers that make all of their living off of HOA disputes. I mean, it is HOA disputes, and I've handled the disputes myself. So, you know, I know they can be contentious. I'm sorry you're having to go through that. But if the rules are the rules, you know, and you're within the rules, you should be okay. But you may have to get you a lawyer.
She's been reading. I'd like to see her take it to him and say, show it to me.
Read it.
Where is it?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back answering more of your questions. Brooks with Timberlake League and Brooks. They are personal injury attorneys, so everything from 18-wheeler accidents to nursing home negligence. 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com, and if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon handles family law. That's anything from child custody, divorces, and the like. She can be reached at 256-539-7337 or www.sharonfamilylaw.com.
Thank you. Got a call this week from a viewer that's been watching for a long time, Dorothy Warren. Thank you very much. She says she loves the show. Thank you, Dorothy.
Good deal, Dorothy.
Thanks for all your calls and questions. We'll see you next week.
Have a nice week.